my Facebook friends and family. Welcome to our kitchen. It's episode 3. Can you even imagine it? I can't, that's what our kids say. You can't even believe it. Hello, I'm Katie from Jared and Katie in the Morning, and this is Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. I do want to draw your attention to something very important. So in last week's episode, you had a little tiny glimpse of my son Henry, our son Henry. My production guy is my husband Ben.
Hello.
Who's behind the camera. You got a glimpse of Henry. Nora, our daughter, was somewhere else, but today you get Maisie. Can you see her?
She's down there somewhere. There she is. Hi, Maisie.
Yes. Anyway, she's like, I guess, my sous chef for the day. But anyway, welcome to episode 3 of Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. I'm so excited about today's episode for a lot of different reasons. I think, first of all, one of the most exciting parts is that we have partnered with Sprouts Farmers Market. Our family loves Sprouts because Sprouts really, truly believes that healthy, fresh food and produce and meats should always be affordable, and that's where we shop. We love Sprouts Farmers Market, so they are a proud sponsor, and also the cocktail portion, Jolo Winery and Vineyards. You know that I have been talking about Jolo Winery and Vineyards for a very long time, so very excited that Jolo Winery and Vineyards is partnering with us for the cocktail portion. I'm gonna grab, a very important, the cocktail portion. Today, we're gonna be making Queso Fundido, and we're gonna be having sangria, and the sangria is made from Jolo Winery and Vineyards. You've probably heard me talk about it a couple times. I participate in a girls' bunco where it's a dice game that requires absolutely zero skill. And I had all the girls over to my house one time, and I made the sangria punch from Jolo Winery and Vineyards, and it was a huge hit. And then it was so big, and we talked it up so much that at our company Christmas party for Dick Broadcasting, 107.5 KZL, we had what we called Santagria, and it is the sangria from Jolo Winery and Vineyards, and I think that everybody really loved it. So we're gonna have sangria, and when it comes to the sangria from Jolo Winery and Vineyards, you can drink it straight as it comes. Although I am gonna do something that someone told me to, they suggested, I can't remember who it was, I'm sorry, but they suggested putting berries, frozen berries, in your wine glass for ice, which makes sense. We do it for the punch and for other sangrias and stuff. But last week I did put an ice cube in my Chardonnay, and somebody told me that I should be putting frozen fruit, so that's what I'm going to do today. All right, so I have my sangria glass. Gonna put a little bit of frozen fruit in there. Ben, I'll make you one too.
Oh, thank you. I'll take one.
Working hard, my production guy.
I know. Taking notes.
This is frozen blackberries from Sprouts Farmers Market. And I'm gonna cut up just, I'm kind of just making it a little fancy, because cocktails should be fancy. And I have part of an orange that was in our fridge. I do have a whole orange, but put that there. I'm really doing this up nice for you, Ben.
Thank you.
Really for myself. All right, and some of the Jolo Winery and Vineyards sangria. And I'll also post for you the recipe for the Jolo punch, because I think that you really will like it. It has a couple more ingredients, a couple more liqueurs that are in there, but I thought this is good for a school night. So, all right, well, here's to our production guy. Cheers. There you go.
Thank you, honey.
All right, cheers, everybody. Okay, so I was telling you for episode 3 of Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail that I was really excited for a lot of different reasons. Another reason that I'm very excited about Cooking with Katie is that Cinco de Mayo is coming up next week, and we're under quarantine. Things are way different. I know everybody was really excited about the fact that Cinco de Mayo was on, was on a Tuesday, which is Taco Tuesday, and it was just like all the stars aligned and everybody was really hyped about it, and then now we're in quarantine and nobody's probably going anywhere.
Quarantine by Mexican beer.
Yes.
Named Corona.
Named
Corona.
Well, so I'm sure they love that. But you could be going out to get your favorite Mexican food to celebrate. You could be ordering tacos. Awesome. If you are not, you can make something very easy in your own home, like the Queso Fundido. And that brings me to my next point. I am a quarter Mexican. My grandmother, Grandma Connie, Mexican. Married my very Irish grandfather from Quincy, Massachusetts, but she was Mexican. So my dad, half Mexican, and then me and my sisters, a quarter Mexican. And so every time we pronounce a word in Spanish, my dad always pretends like he doesn't know what we're saying because he's bilingual and we are not. And we'll say, oh yeah, we're gonna make some queso. And he said, what? I said, queso, we're gonna have some queso. He said, I don't know what that is. We're like, Dad, queso, cheese dip. He said, oh, queso fundido. So let me just get it out of the way. Queso fundido, cilantro, sangria, what other words? Is chile verde, which is on the stove behind us, but we're not making tonight. Tortillas. Are there any other ones that I'm going to be mispronouncing that he's going to give me a hard time?
He probably will.
All right, enough. Let's get started. Cooking with Katie, episode 3. First things first. We're going to be using the induction burner again, and this queso fundido is going to have tequila in it. If you were in this kitchen right now, the fumes from the tequila are whoo! And tequila and I don't have a great relationship just from my college days. So smelling it, I'm kind of like, a little bit. But we're going to get it going on the induction burner. We're going to get it simmering, okay? We'll bring it to a simmer. For the queso fundido, if you don't want to use tequila, I don't know why you wouldn't want to use tequila, but if you don't want to use tequila, Ben, you were asking me what would be a good substitution in here.
Yes.
Milk, maybe some chicken broth would be good. It's really just to kind of make the cheese not so thick. And plus also, we're going for a little bit of the tequila flavor. The alcohol is going to cook off. It's going to burn off, so don't worry about that. So we're going to have some tequila. But first, and this is an interesting part, we don't want the queso fundido to be too garlicky. We just kind of want to have it a flavor of garlic. So what we're going to do is cut the garlic in half, and we're going to rub the half of the garlic, just one clove, just a half, in your pot. So it gives you a little bit of garlic essence, so to speak, but doesn't hit you right in the face. So take your pan, not on the heat yet, and just rub the inside. Kind of like the same idea of if you're, you can see what I'm doing. Hands are gonna stink after this. Kind of the same idea if you're doing this with garlic bread. If you don't want it to be too garlicky, but you want it to have the essence of garlic, you can just take the clove and rub the pan. Just like that, just a little bit, just enough to really get the flavor on there. And so, after I've done that, I'm just gonna get rid of these things. I'm gonna get my burner going. I think I'm becoming a little bit more familiar with the induction burner. Not 100% comfortable, but I'm getting there.
We got flammable liquids in there, so.
Scary. All right. Well, I'm just gonna put it on simmer. Okay, so we're gonna put it on simmer.
Annabelle wants to know who the sponsors are again.
Oh, Sprouts Farmers Market and Jolo Winery and Vineyards. Welcome to the party. Okay, so we're gonna put a half of a cup of tequila in here, and I'm using tequila blanco, which is just white, clear.
Yep.
Clear.
And
nothing
then
really to see.
Amanda has made a comment that you're like Giada on the Food Network.
Y'all, that is seriously what I didn't want to be in this. Because if you have ever watched Giada, she'll just be talking. Let me get the water boiling, get things going, add the spaghetti out of nowhere.
That's what she
said. Okay. I didn't want to do that, so I got it all out of the way in the beginning so that I could say to my dad, I said it properly. Okay, so while this is going, and I'm going to keep an eye on this because it's going to start to warm up, and then some of the alcohol is going to start to burn off. We want the tequila flavor. 4 cups of grated Monterey Jack cheese. Very important that you grate your own cheese. Buy a pound block of Monterey Jack. Grate it yourself because, turn this down just a little. When you buy the packaged cheese from the grocery store, it has like a flour or it's like a light dusting of ingredients on there that doesn't make it melt very well. So buy the Monterey Jack in the block form, grate it yourself. This is 4 cups. To the cheese, we're going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch. This is going to act as the thickening agent. We're also going to add a teaspoon of chili powder. Get that in there for some flavor. And we're going to add a ½ teaspoon of cumin. Put that in there. And then we're going to use our best utensils. We're going to coat the cheese with the cornstarch and the cumin and the chili powder. And again, really important to grate your own cheese so that it gets really melty.
I'm learning stuff over here.
What's that?
First, I'm learning that about, wet your hands and rub over your stainless steel faucet to get rid of the garlic smell.
I have heard that. I've never tried it though. And that reminds me, thank you all for commenting. If you are watching, you're tuning in right now, and you have a comment or you have a question, put it in the comment section because my production guy is reading your questions. All right, so this tequila now is at a gentle simmer or a gentle boil simmer, and we're going to take the Monterey Jack cheese that has been now coated with the cornstarch and the chili powder and the cumin, and we are going to add this. This is going to go quickly. So now that this is warm, this is going to kind of move fast. But we're going to add it by the handful, stirring as we go. And before we do each new handful, we want to make sure that it's really incorporated and really getting smooth. So, let me get this going. Smells pretty delicious.
I got Annabelle says that you need to take your rings off, please, if you're gonna be digging around in there.
I know.
It's not raw meat. It's not raw meat.
I had a big problem with putting my hands and my rings into the meat when I was making the Greek turkey meatballs. I thought it was pretty foul. This, I guess, not so bad, but. All right, so while this is melting, then you can add in your next handful of cheese. Spill it everywhere the way that I am. And you guys, while I'm working on this, and we're kind of going through this whole process, I want to remind you that, maybe I didn't even tell you in the first place, but I did in the beginning of the video, Sprouts has donated a $25 gift certificate to someone who's watching right now. So all of these ingredients can be found at Sprouts Farmers Market, and they're giving you a gift certificate so you can make your own Queso Fundido. The only thing you can't find at Sprouts Farmers Market is the tequila because you have to go to a liquor store, but I thought that was pretty nice of them. All right, so this is cooking down. The tequila was nice and warm, and now all of the cheese going in just by the handful and stirring until it all starts to come together. Cannot get all of this in there.
So, Katie, where's our Sprouts Farmers Market?
Our Sprouts in Greensboro is at the, it's in Westridge Square, which is at the intersection of Battleground and Westridge. And it's a beautiful store. I was in there today, and they have a great selection of meats and produce, and although it's a little bit different right now, buying in bulk because everything's different under quarantine, under coronavirus right now. They do have a lot of the bulk products that they sell, like beans and chocolate-covered yogurt, chocolate or yogurt-covered raisins and pretzels and almonds. Those are already all pre-packaged for you to buy. Their produce section is unbelievable, so be sure to check out Sprouts Farmers Market. So we're just going to continue to add this all the Monterey Jack cheese in here, stirring as it comes together. And it's melting really nicely. And if you were thinking, oh, well, I don't want the tequila in there, again, I think chicken stock or maybe even some milk would be a good thing to add. But I want the tequila taste, so here we go. It is Queso Fundido. Ben, can you get a shot of this?
Let's see if I
so you
can.
See all the melting? And you want to make sure that it melts and gets really creamy in between each handful that you're adding. It smells so delicious. It's just nice, you know, if you are planning to go out and get food from your favorite restaurant on Cinco de Mayo, that's awesome. I just wanted to, we thought it'd be really fun to kind of do it at home and show you how easy it is to make at home. Delicious things. Ooh, it's coming together. So cheesy.
You're kind of leaving out your glass over there.
I know, I'm stirring. I'm busy stirring. I don't want it to scorch or get stuck to the bottom. Are you having a drink for me then?
Yes, I am.
Does anybody have any questions or comments, or are we just kind of watching?
Susan Harlow said, hello to my favorite chef.
Hi, Susan. Hello. Susan, you can make this at home, you know. General Manager Dick Harlow, 1075 KCL and Rock 92 is going to love it. All right, so this is coming together beautifully. And when we are finished, we have just a little bit more cheese to go. Yes, you can see. I haven't gotten that down yet.
That's thickening it up.
My sisters and I always give my mom and my dad, who are both bilingual, my mom trilingual, but speaking Spanish and Portuguese, and then my dad growing up speaking Spanish, never taught us. Not one well, they'll say they did. They'll say, yes, we did. We taught you the alphabet. We gave you a base.
So, Logan asked, how do you get it so quiet while you do this? I can't cook without kids hanging off of me.
Okay. Our children are currently upstairs watching The Little Mermaid with Mrs. Chris. You've heard me talk about Mrs. Chris before, our angel who watches our children every single day. And Mrs. Chris said, hey, do you want me to come over today and be with the kids while you do your cooking with Katie and a cocktail? And we said, would you please? And I told her that I would entice her back downstairs when it was all said and done with a cocktail, a sangria, and also some cheese dip. And she said, I'll be there. So they're upstairs, that's why. Otherwise they would be like, right. Henry came down earlier and he was wearing his fireman, his turnout gear. It's official. Wearing his turnout gear and said, can I help? What can I do? And I said, I don't know, bud. I don't know. That's the only reason it's quiet. It hasn't been quiet all day. All right, so this is all incorporated. Now, it's a little thick. Let me turn this off. It's still burning.
Cancel. Yep. Cancel.
It is. That's just the fan. Okay, it's off. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to add the small can. I think it's 4 ounces of diced chilies. 4.5 ounces of diced green chilies. Those are going to go in right now once I've turned off the heat. So I'm cooking, y'all. This is how it goes. And we're going to incorporate that.
It took us too long to clean the kitchen that you can't be tossing stuff around like that.
I know. And then, you know what? We're going to probably just eat directly from this. You could pour it into a fancy bowl if you wanted, if you're serving guests. I do have my chips right here. We're going to probably just be eating over the pot because that's how we do. So I am going to turn it back on to simmer just to, I don't want it to get too congealy. You know, the cheese cools off very quickly and I want to make sure that it does stay warm. So just keep it on simmer and or warm on your stovetop. And then once the chilies are in there and kind of once they're incorporated, now is the time when you're going to add a little bit of your salt. And I'm going to add about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Not too much because the cheese is salty enough, and if you think about it, you're dipping really salty chips into the dip. So I don't want to overdo it, but a little bit just to flavor it.
I'm going to answer a question on here.
Okay.
Garrett was asking about the floating knife set above the stove. That was my doing. Pretty much you can get any place like Williams-Sonoma or Sur La Table or Extra Ingredient at Friendly Center is kind of where I went for that, but very simple magnetic holder. I love it. Okay.
It is a great idea. I mean, it's great. And we did that because we had the knife block, and, well, we actually had 2 knife blocks, I think, and little hands. And they would get up on their stool to help us cook, or they were getting grabby up on the counter and they couldn't see. And it was just really our fear that they were going to somehow or another get a knife. And so we just thought, well, we have the open space right there. Let's put the magnetic knife rack. And it's really proven to be pretty great, so good job. All right, so now that this is all incorporated and getting nice and smooth and keeping warm, I'm gonna take just a handful of cilantro. And by the way, on all the cooking shows, when you see them like rip off the herbs and stuff, no one keeps it like this. No one. This is for the show and for aesthetic only. This is gonna go into, once I rinsed it, I'm gonna put the cilantro back into, or actually wrap it into a paper towel and put it into a plastic bag that I do keep open in the fridge to keep it fresh for as long as possible, but no one stores it like this, I don't think. We don't. All right, I'm just gonna rip it. And so, if you were going to be pouring or putting this into a serving dish, this would be the time to do it. And then you can garnish with the cilantro, and we're gonna do some fresh cracked pepper. But is it cool with you if I just?
Whatever you want to do, honey.
I just want to eat it right here. It's fine. Keep it warm. It's kind of like the same idea as having it on a fondue pot or something, you know, or if you have it over the flame, you just keep it in there. And really, quite honestly, this could stand to be heated up just a little bit longer. But for time purposes, I'm gonna have Ben come and take a look with the camera. Add some fresh cracked pepper.
It's really hard to get this angle.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so.
Lift too. Cool thing about induction is that this does not get hot. So there's that. All right. So we have our sangria. I have some chips. Oh, you know what? You could serve the Queso Fundido with tortillas that you've warmed up. You could serve it with chips. You could also serve it, I think it would be delicious with some chorizo in there. Chorizo. But yeah, however you want to serve it, I think it'd be great. You could add some diced tomatoes. Really, you make it as fun as you want it to be. This is just the basic starter for you. And before we end episode 3, Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail, pardon me, Ben, do you happen to have the name of someone? Okay. All right, so Ben says that Annabelle McElroy, hope I'm saying your name right, you just got a $25 gift certificate to Sprouts Farmers Market. We're giving one away every single episode, so be sure to join in. Thank you for being a part of episode 3, Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. Happy Cinco de Mayo!